alleged anti-Semitism, he had this one moment of altruism towards the end of his presidency where he said, Israel's our ally and we just have to support them in this difficult time, despite advice that he was receiving from his administration to do otherwise. Well, I would argue that this belief itself is a testament to Nixon's Machiavellian disposition. The myth of Nixon as Israel's savior was concocted and proliferated by Nixon and Kissinger themselves in a desperate attempt to preserve Nixon's presidency in the midst of the Watergate scandal. And even since then, it has been written about by Nixon and Kissinger in an attempt to resurrect the Nixon legacy. As I've already mentioned, first off, it's important to keep in mind that Kissinger was the one who handled the crisis, while Nixon himself was barricaded somewhere in Florida. Yet if you read Nixon's memoirs, he makes it seem like the decision to save Israel was his alone, that he kind of came up with the whole idea, and that it was a moment of just altruism and him just trying to do the right thing. So for example, Nixon writes that on the morning of October 6th, which was the first day of the war, quote, "We received a cable from our ambassador in Tel Aviv, reporting that Golda Meir had just told him that Syria and Egypt were in a final countdown to war. Israel was about to be attacked from two fronts." What Nixon fails to mention is the fact that Kissinger kept the cable from him for 2.5 hours, from 6 a.m. to 8:35 a.m., at which point he called Nixon's aide, who was with him in Florida, to let him know that, quote, "We are on top of it here at the White House." He then instructed the aide to tell the media that the president was kept informed from 6 a.m. on, which was obviously not the case. Nixon continued to portray himself as Israel's savior by seeming to suggest that he came up with the idea of flying supplies to Israel himself. He says that, quote, by Tuesday, October 9th, the fourth day of the war, we could see that if the Israelis were to continue fighting, we would have to replace their early losses. I had absolutely no doubt or hesitation about what we must do. I met with Kissinger and told him to let the Israelis know that we would replace all of their losses. So again, Nixon is kind of omitting crucial facts. As we know, this was not Nixon's idea. This was Meir's idea. She had requested these weapons. It was not as if Nixon came up with this himself. Nixon goes on to claim, and I'm going to read now just a couple of quotes from Nixon's memoirs that, in my opinion, sound a lot like movie scripts. They're just really great quotes. Nixon goes on to claim at a meeting with congressional leaders while this conflict was going on, one of them asked if Israel was going to lose the war. Nixon responds, "No, we will not let Israel go down the tubes." Then faced with the problem of which types of planes to send, Nixon claims to have said to Kissinger, quote, "God damn it, use every one we have. Tell them to send everything that can fly." Reflecting on the oil embargo placed on the United States and its allies